welcome. Once again, we have our webinar of the month. We're super excited because today's presentation is about customer service. And we are living in an era where everything is about customer service. Marketing is now more based on the reaction of customers, the feedback of customers. And it's very important for companies to understand more and more how to react with the customer service, how to be more effective with customer service, but at the same time to understand much better what they want, what they think. And today we have a special guest that is an expert, and he's going to teach us how to do this, on how we can excel, how we can improve customer service, regardless the industry, regardless the company. Customer service is extremely important. So let me introduce you, Professor Marcos Rodriguez. Professor Marcos Rodriguez is a member of the faculty for Adjunct Mendez University. And as you know, Adjunct Mendez University is our global member and also the sponsor for this monthly webinar. So welcome, Professor Marcos.
Thank you, Mary Renee. Thank you for the introduction. It's a pleasure for me to be here sharing with you some knowledge and some findings that I just discovered during my journey as a professor and also during my journey as a researcher. So it's going to be very useful for you guys. I know it's going to be, you're going to take some tools for your personal life and especially for your professional life. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Hope you like it.
For being part of this segment today. And like I said at the beginning of this presentation, it's going to be amazing because we're really going to learn tools and important elements that we should implement for our companies. It doesn't matter if your company is small, if it's large, if it's medium, customer is important regardless the size of your company. So at this time, I'm going to ask Professor Marcos to start the presentation, and thanks again for joining.
Thank you so much. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me know.
Yep.
Let me make it bigger so it's easy for all of us to see it. Right? Is it good?
Yes.
So thank you so much, Maria Rene. It is a pleasure again. As you mentioned, this kind of subject is really, really important when we speak about the different companies and with different products and with different services that we offer. No matter if you're a small business, if you're a big business, you need to pay attention to this because it's going to help you to leverage your target market and also to retain and acquire loyalty from your customers. So let's get when we say the word mapping, like a customer journey, the first thing that comes to our mind is like a street, like a journey, like we are in a car and we're driving and we are trying to get somewhere. Of course, when we're driving in the journey or when we're traveling, we know that we can face some challenges, we can face some good things, but it is part of the work journey. And as a customer, they also find this kind of situation. We're going to discuss this during the presentation. So first of all, when we talk about mapping a customer journey, we need to understand what is a customer. First of all, we need to understand what is a customer. So a customer is a person or maybe an organization that buys. They buy goods, they buy services from a store or a business. Also, it's called a recipient of a good, a service, a product, or an idea. Could be an idea from a seller, from a vendor, or a supplier, because we need to do like a financial transaction, or it could be via an exchange of money, or because an exchange or something valuable. So we need to understand what is a customer. But now, after you know the definition, you need to know who is your customer. Depending on your business, is your customer local? Is the customer local, close to your company? Is your customer remotely? Who is your customer? Who is the people that are going to be buying your services? Who's going to be buying your products? So it is very important that we know who we are and who they are. Okay, we need to understand their motivation. What do they think and what do they want in order to, when they get to our store, or when they get to you to find something specific. What are the intentions? What do they want to, their expectations that when we do a business? So all of those factors, you need to be very careful and understand in order to do the mapping correctly. Also, you need to understand the pain points. Sometimes you say pain points. What's that? So the pain points are products or services that aims to solve a specific problem people it's experiencing in the market. It could be processes. It could be something financial. It could be support, or it could be productivity. So all of those things you need to be very clear and understand in order to do the mapping correctly.
And you know what? In this part, Professor Rodriguez, is extremely important at the very beginning to understand who's your customer. Here at the Chamber, we do a lot of business consulting, especially for startups. And one of the problems is that they don't have a clear understanding who they want to serve. So they have the idea, they have the product, but they don't really understand who the target audience is. In this case, just talking in general, who your customer is. Correct. And what you're saying is extremely important, that that companies should be, or entrepreneurs should establish this at the very beginning. Right?
Correct. Thank you for that, Maria. And you're completely right. Sometimes we as a business owner, we think that maybe the customers are all of the people outside of our business. And that's true. They're potential customers. But we need to, if we're selling, let's say if we're selling cars, so we need to understand who is our customer. If we're selling food, we need to understand who is our customer. So depending on the industry and our product or service, we need to identify it and focus directly our marketing strategies. Okay. So when we are discussing the journey, we need to, as mentioned, we have to understand every customer experience at each stage, because it is very vital. Okay, according to the findings, the different researches that I made, I saw different scenarios. Some authors mentioned that they only have 4 steps, but do we really have 4 steps? So and they mentioned the inquiry, the comparison, the purchase, and the installation. Those are the 4 stages of the customer journey. But are we sure that we only have 4 phases? We're going to see during the presentation. Okay, now we have like a very, very well structured customer journey map. But now we need to understand what's the definition of a customer journey map. A customer journey map is a diagram, as you can see, or a flow chart, or an illustration of all the touch points associated with your customer and with your company. So if we start from the red area here, awareness, we see that sometimes we need to talk about the online ads. We need to talk about the word of mouth. We need to talk about the outdoors ads, the TV, the PR, all of that. So that's the first step when we're trying to understand the journey. Then we move to the part of consideration. There is when we receive emails, when we see the social medias. When we see YouTube, sometimes we use the social media and the social videos to understand and learn more about a product or a specific service. Nowadays, we use a lot of technology, so we have to pay attention to that every time to try to understand our customer, and every time we try to get to our customer. Then we move to the purchase. Okay, then is when we decide if we're going to go to the store to buy the product, or are we going to do it online? Are we going to use an app, specific app? Because sometimes you as a company could have a specific app for doing business. And then we move to the area of the advocacy. So which is where we after we purchase the item or the service, then we maybe we leave reviews, we do surveys, we participate on social forums or something like that, and then we acquire the, I think, which is the most important part, which is the loyalty of the customer. Because every time we sell something, we just don't only want to sell the product and forget about it. We want to complete the process and have a customer is going to buy continually from us, and also the customer who's going to recommend us with other family members or friends or so. So as you can see, the engagement of the customer is very, very important, and it's attached to all related to the service, to your brand, and to your product. Okay.
I love the graphic you made on this, specifically in this slide, because it's so clear to understand. Sometimes, when you're taking even marketing classes, it's hard to visualize everything. But here it's so simple, and you're absolutely correct on all the steps that companies should take, to build this relationship with the client. And one of the points that you mentioned about loyalty, that is definitely one of the elements that we need to find, right? That's our goal as a company, is to have loyal customers.
That's correct. And easy. Sometimes it sounds easy to say, let's say, sometimes people or business owners say, oh, if I open a business, it's going to be pretty easy. Yeah, it's more than that. There's a lot of different factors that you have to consider when you are maybe doing a study before opening your business. So you have to understand your client and then do it correctly, because maybe you can have a good product, you can have a good service, but then what's going to happen if you don't know how to handle or how to manage your people, your employees, and also your customers? You need to understand every process and be honest to you. Be honest to, if you find some areas of opportunity, just be honest and try to work on those. Okay, because it's gonna help you.
Question on this. The graphic that you mentioned social media and mass media. Let's say company, in this case, it has to be involved in all of these, or is just a map for them to see where to go?
No, this map is only like just a generic map that maybe, depending on the size of your business, it's going to adapt completely, or maybe part of it. So not all of the phases or the points that you see there are going to apply to you directly. So yes, it depends on the size of the company, and also depends on if you're selling a service or if you're selling a product. Remember that we have something which is something that you can touch and something that you don't touch, which is the service. So yes. So let's gonna continue. Now, we have a different, I like to project, every time I like to project different graphics that's going to be helpful for you to understand sometimes what we're explaining. So when we're speaking about the retail customer journey, sometimes we need to see the different step. It's like a ladder, and then you see the different step. The first step is that you need to make a purchase. So in this case, they have this cartoon there that it says, oh, I need to make a purchase, right? And then it was difficult to compare options on my phone. So let me go to the store to see, if I can better buy my product. So and it has like a line of thinking, which it says the store was pleasant to visit, and then during the store, maybe the cashier wasn't very helpful. So what I want you to project with this image is that sometimes our perception as a business owner could be completely different of what the customers see or live. Okay, so we have to be prepared nowadays, because of the technology is taking, a lot of different, it's going to be very useful tool for us. And we need to address every single part of our, our journey and the customer journey too. As I mentioned in this graphic, you said the last 3 points says, I'm so glad you answered my phone calls and questions. And then we moved to the support step, which is maybe I'm going to purchase the item again. I'm going to recommend that item again. And then we reach the goal, which is the medal or the trophy, that the customer is happy, because that's the main reason of us as a business owner. We want happy customer. We want customer that are going to be returning to us every time. we launch something different every time we have a different service, and we want them to speak and talk about us, in a positive way. When we talk about the journey, the journey map, it's something that lays out all the touch points that your customer may have with your brand. It could be, as mentioned before, that social media. It is something very important nowadays that you have to pay attention. Everything in social media. Before, sometimes customers, every time they want to buy something, they connect to the internet and they find reviews, or maybe they go to YouTube or Google it, and or go to Facebook. It could be a big scenario. You have to pay attention to all your social medias. People like to use technology no matter their age. Now, people from, no matter if they're 16 to 60 something, they are very technology oriented. So you have to pay attention to your social media. It could be also something related, you have to pay attention to the advertising. When you do marketing campaigns, you have to be very specific, pay attention, because depending on the target market or the people, your customer, you need to, make some adjustments. Also the interaction, how the customer is gonna react with all the different points of the journey. The website, it is something really, really important that you have a very user-friendly website. People need to understand how to navigate, easy to buy something, easy to read something, easy to find support. Because sometimes we, as a customer, we buy something, but after that we need maybe support, and we need to know where to find it. And you as a business owner or entrepreneur, you have to be accessible for that. And also you have to be prepared with the support team. Support, I think it's one of the most important things, because as mentioned, after you do you complete the purchase, the cycle, people are gonna need from you, are gonna contact you no matter what. Maybe it's because they have something specific, or they need to solve something specific with the product. So you have to be there for them. Okay, so pay attention to all the different touch points, because they're gonna promote you, and they're gonna help you to gain the loyalty that we mentioned before. Okay?
And one of the things that you mentioned here is about, for example, social media or the support team. A lot of companies offer, these channels in social media, Facebook, but when somebody's asking for inquires, questions, nobody responds to them. Or the websites, when you say you can chat with us, and then you send a message and nobody's replying to you. And I went through several times to websites, like especially, with technology. I have questions because I'm paying for that service, and nobody replied to me in that moment. They say, oh, we'll get back to you. What is your email? And then I have to wait 2 days for them to reply to me for something that I want to fix that moment. So what you say about the support team and having, a friendly website is extremely important. And it doesn't cost you too much, because now with the technology, we can have this, I believe they call it robots, the chats that, you can program for
artificial intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked actually couple of presentations ago with the president and one of the also faculty members of Mendez. They were talking about artificial intelligence and how, this technology is taking all over. So I just want to make a comment about that. And the second part is about the graphic you have, the map. Should we assume that the ones that are under, at the bottom in each one, like awareness and purchases, are not that effective as the digital marketing now? Or why in the graphic we show that the mass media is under the line?
No, when you see the lines there in the graphic, it doesn't. It's just like a draw. Nothing. It not because it's something positive or negative. It's because maybe the journey of a customer could be bumpy, or it's not like a straight line. It's just something that goes, up and down. But yeah, not doesn't refer to nothing, something specific like either positive or negative. But yeah, in this case, in this example, it was like when you travel and when you're trying to buy a ticket, then you have to go through a process which is very similar to the ones I showed before. For example, you see you pay attention to the newspapers, you look for offers in the newspaper, emails, computer, and then you start considering to buy your ticket, and then you decide, okay, am I going to like an agency physically, or am I going to do it by myself from my house, from my computer? So that's the process, and one of the important thing here in this graphic is the retention area, which is the one that gives you and drives you to the loyalty, because as mentioned, it is really, really important. Because no matter if you're going to be successful selling a lot of different items, but as you mentioned before, if I need in the future, if I need some support, am I gonna come back and buy again if I had a bad experience? So that's why the retention and the customer support are really, the key of success of different companies. Okay. So when we're still trying to explain the journey map, sometimes it as mentioned is a visual representation of the entire customer journey that can provide valuable insights into the thought of your customers. Let's say that you're an owner of the food truck, so you need to be. It's sometimes for different people, drawing something or writing down things it's easier to track their success or to have control of their business. You have to understand the objective. What's write a goal or activity. You have to write it down. What's your goal? You need to write down what's a need that you want to meet with this customer as in this example as food truck. What are the feelings, right? An emotion that you expect from the customer to have, and also the barriers, potential challenges that you may face. And then you divide it. This is like an example again. It is you can do it or you cannot, but maybe some people do it in your mind, but some people just write it down, and it's easier for them to track it during the process. So those steps are going to be very, I think, very, very useful when you are especially starting a business. No matter the size, again, no matter the industry, it's going to be very useful for you. So as mentioned before, there's no fixed customer journey mapping template, because depending on the industry, depending on your customers, you need to adapt it accordingly. You have to keep it relevant to your products and experience, because that's what's going to make the difference here. Okay. And then sometimes when you are trying to understand or trying to do a mapping, there are some questions that are going to be useful for you. Who are the target user or customers? What are their pains? What are their needs? What are their goals? What drives them towards your products or could be a service? What are their concerns or hesitations? What are the touch points with your product, as mentioned before? What notable actions do they take or don't take? And what data and feedback do we have to validate of all the above? So those questions are going to be useful for you when you are designing and adapting your own customer journey map. Okay. There are plenty of customer journey tools, but you have to choose the one that's going to be perfect for your company, that's going to be perfect for your product or perfect for your service, and also for your team. And when you are considering different tools that maybe you can find out there in technology, you have to consider the different questions. Is the tool built for your type of the team? Example, the UX, the products, the customer experience, the marketing. Are all the step and content within the journeys customizable? Can you do it? Can you take that product or that technology and adapt it to my needs? So all those questions you need to have it in mind when you are deciding what specific tool are you going to take. Because you can buy the tool or you can design your own tool. You even can have an Excel and do like a chart, like I presented before, and do it that way. Or maybe you can track, if you're a big company, you can buy like a different application or different program that's going to help you to track, all the different steps during or to track the journey of the customer during the whole process. Usually big companies, they have different products or different applications that they track all the cycle, when the customer do the first step and then when he moves forward. So
Professor
depending,
Rodriguez, this part is extremely important because a
yes,
lot of companies, let's go back to the startups or small entrepreneurs, they are trying to be friendly with the technology. We have so many things in the internet, so many applications and tools that we really get lost in the process. But what you're saying about selecting the one that applies for the type of business you have, that is the clue. Because we even here at the chamber, we face several times, acquiring technology, but that technology not necessarily was working for us because it didn't apply to our needs were back in that time. So that point is extremely important. And like you mentioned, the viewers that are watching this presentation today, focus on finding tools that are going to be useful for your business and for the type of customers you have.
correct. You're completely correct. So that's why no matter if you're like a food truck or a small business, or if you're a big company, you have to, maybe you could start with using like an Excel. You can start from there. And then if you do research and you find an application or a program or software that's going to help you for that, pay attention to that, and maybe pay attention and find something that's going to suit your customer, suit your need, and maybe that's going to be, you can build it according to your needs and your customers. So as you mentioned, you are completely correct. Thank you for that, Maria. So the customer journey maps also are called experience map. And experience map look at the broader content of human behavior. They show how the organization fits into a person's life. Empathy is something really, really, really important when you are designing the mapping of the customer journey. And what's the empathy? So in basically, it's like putting yourself in the shoes of the other person, is other people. But the right definition is empathy for your customers, and identifying their feelings at every turn makes customer journey mapping very powerful. Why? Let's imagine that you are selling or you're buying a car, okay? And you won't go to the dealer, a car dealer, and you start searching for a car, and you like something specific, but you as a business owner or as a seller, you have to make sure that your customer has the right budget. The customer, because sometimes I could select the most expensive item or product, but you have to be realistic. And sometimes me as a customer doesn't realize that, but you as a business owner or as a seller, you have to say, no, let's gonna, maybe you like this, you could say, oh, you like this specific model, but right now I think that it's going to be helpful for you to take this one, and maybe in a couple of months or in 1 year, we can think about moving to this other one. Why we do that? Because we don't know if maybe right now, because of the emotion, I could buy it, but maybe I cannot pay it. And then I'm going to be returning that, or my credit is going to be affected in a couple of months. So we have to use the empathy here. We have to be clear with respect, but we have to drive our customer to take the right direction.
Professor Rodriguez, I want to also make a comment, because this is another thing that is happening in the market, especially the empathy, I will say, in several industries like the health, travel, and tourism. In some cases, especially in health, doctors don't have any empathy. Nurses don't have any empathy. You go to the doctor, They don't care about how you feel. They care about the process. They don't care if you are waiting for 2 hours. They don't care if you have insurance or not. They just want to follow the process. And that is so bad because, the I will say, basic foundation of being a doctor or being a health is caring about the patient, caring about the health. And I'm not going to say in all the places, but I was witness, and also I was part of that lack of empathy in
Mhm.
health, lack of empathy in several industries that are happening. Especially, if you are big, it's worse because you really care about numbers and not about quality. And what you're saying is definitely something that companies need to take in consideration: empathy.
Yes, and also according to what you said, sometimes people are focused, like sellers specifically, because of the commission. Because if I sell something very expensive, my commission is going to be bigger. No matter if it's like you're selling an insurance, you're selling a car, you're selling whatever. Everything is about money. But you have to be realistic. Realistic. You have to use the empathy because we need to put ourselves in the other people's shoes. So we want a repetitive customer. We don't want a customer who's going to buy something today, maybe return it in the future, and then we lost that customer. So that's why that we need to pay attention to every step and especially use the empathy.
So
Okay?
don't worry about the money, worry about the satisfaction, basically.
Correct.
Because the money is going to come if the customer is satisfied.
Correct. That's completely correct. Thank you for that. So there are different options that options and small surveys that are going to be helpful for us as a customer to see where we're standing. I'm going to be mentioning three of them. The first of all is going to be the NPS, which is the Net Promoter Score. I'm going to be explaining one of them, each of them in the next slides. The next one is the customer satisfaction score, and the last one is the customer effort score. And probably you say, what's that? So it's going to be very helpful for you as a business owner, and you will see why. Sometimes, let's say that you're going to go to the maintenance or change the oil of your car to your car dealer or the supplier, whatever. Then you need to track the customer, the satisfaction, and then couple of questions, at least two questions that you could use either by a small survey that they're going to receive on the phone after the purchase or by the email. Just two questions are enough, but these two are examples. Let's say, how satisfied were you with your onboarding experience, or how satisfied were you with our checkout process? And this is going to give the owner or the entrepreneurs a point of view where they're standing. And as you mentioned, it's something really, really simple. You go from very unsatisfied to very satisfied. And then how you get the score? Easily. You take the ones that are number 4 and number 5, which is satisfied and very satisfied. You add all the numbers and you divide it by the total of all the responses, and then you multiply it by 100. Then you get the percentage. Why do we do that? Because it's going to be helpful for you to make adjustments on the service. Remember, we're talking about customer service. We're going to be talking about repetitive purchases. Okay, so it's very important. You can take that as an example, and then you can maybe adjust it depending on your service or business. Now I'm going to move to the next one, which is it's called the NPS, or Net Promoter Score. Here you could use these two questions for like a template. How likely are you going to recommend this solution to your peers? Let's say that you have a green pharmacy. So you have to pay, no matter the type of business that you manage or you own, you have to pay attention to your customers, because that's the main reason of your success. And then the other question is, how likely are you going to recommend this store to your friends or family? Why? Because there is outside, there is a lot of different green pharmacies. You have to make the difference. Your service is going to make the difference. Sometimes people come to us. Maybe you could sell let's say that you're selling chocolates, and a lot of different supermarkets, different people are selling chocolates. but people come to you because of the service. And that's how, and you need to keep tracking their satisfaction. And those questions are going to be helpful for you. And here you have also the formula, which is you take the promoter, the percentage of the promoters, which are the green ones, and number 9 and number 10. Then you subtract the detractors, which are the people that selected from 0 to 6, and then you're gonna get the net promoter score. Again, these numbers and these percentages are gonna be helpful for you, and you can adapt it after a visit, maybe doing a phone call, a quick phone call, doing a quick survey that they're gonna get by email or on the phone as a text message. Do it, and you will think about, and you will thank me about that in the future. Okay.
I'm sure these surveys are extremely important, and sometimes we don't want to do it, right? Because we don't want to receive any bad review or a critique. But if you think about it, that's good for us, because if we are receiving a bad response, not bad, but let's say negative comments or things that we can improve, that's exactly what we're doing this for, to improve and try to do less mistakes in the future, right?
That's true. We have to be realistic. As you mentioned, we as a human, we don't like to maybe receive negative feedback. But when you're doing business, you need to receive all kind of feedback, because you need to make adjustments on time. Not you have to be proactive, not reactive. So that's why you need to use the numbers and make adjustments, because they're going to be helpful for you. Okay. And the last one is the CES, which is more or less the same. And 2 questions that maybe you could use or adapt to your business is: the website made it easy for me to compare options, or the support representative made it easy to get my questions answered. Again, if you're selling like an insurance company, a health plan, you need to track the satisfaction of the customer. I know a lot of different people that maybe when they have like a nice health plan, but when they have a situation and they call customer service, they say it's completely wrong. They are very disappointed. And it's something that you have to fix, because maybe you could have a good product, but your service or the customer service, it needs some improvements. And again, here you have the formula that is going to be helpful for you. You take the answers from number 5, 6, and 7, and then you divide it by the answers from 1 to 4, and then you have the customer effort score. Maybe you could say, oh, this is something like very, very simple or insignificant, but the feedback and the numbers that you're going to get from those numbers are going to be very useful for you as a business owner or entrepreneur.
All the time, Professor Rodriguez, like you have a good product, you have let's say a restaurant, your food is very good, but the service is the worst. People is not going to come back, even though the food is delicious, just because I think in a restaurant, what you're selling is not just the food, but it's also the moment, the experience that you're having in that place.
Service.
Why you want to go back? And on top of that, you have to pay a tip.
Exactly. And that's why I said you could probably have the best product or service in the market, but if your service or if your support is lacking, from opportunities, then people are not gonna come to you again. So that's why you have to pay attention to every step. And also when you are dealing with people and when you're dealing with service, okay? As mentioned before, touch points, pain points, and emotions can affect the customer journey. You have to, by fully understanding your customer experience, you can design improved products or services and satisfy them at every stage of their journey, okay? Here, you have like another different graphic. Again, remember, this is something very, very different according to your business. But what I wanted to show is that the first, when we go from left to right, the first step is when you see, then you move to the step that you're thinking about it. Then you do some actions, you take action, and then it's the service step, which is the customer service. And then you're going to get the loyalty from the customer, okay? Now, as a summary of all that I explained it to you before, as we mentioned, all the different steps are really connected. The pre, the core, and the post-service encounter are really connected. When we talk about the tourism journey, we have to pay attention during the pre phase about about their motivation. We need to pay attention about the integration activities. We need to pay attention to the initial contact, and also we need to pay attention to the digital platforms that people use when they're planning their vacations. Then when we move to the core, to the center, because usually according to the different researches that I made, most of the business owner pay attention to only this area, and they're forgetting the pre and the post area, which are really, really important to, to pay attention to. And also because all of them work as a whole. Okay, here in the core, we're speaking about the knowledge of the customer, equity, interaction, that the equity during the process, the experience that they're gonna have, the personalization of the product or service they're getting, and the relationship with the service provider. Okay, firms needs to invest in the three stages, as mentioned before, because right now most of them are paying attention to only this phase. And then the last one, which is the post-service encounter, here is gonna be the part of the help, customer support, the promotion. Am I going to speak good? Am I going to recommend your product or service to other people? And I'm going to get some feedback to other people or to your company. Am I going to tolerate if a bad service or product, I get a bad service or product? So all those things I need to consider too, because not enough focus on the pre-core and post encounters have been paid before, using the three steps as a whole. So here is the summary of, when you are deciding and mapping a customer journey. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
I love the presentation, especially the graphic. That's the type of graphics that, are very visual, and you can understand really where you need to go and what is the process, like you said, the mapping. A few questions representing companies, representing, small businesses that every day they are facing the different challenge. But in this particular case, in terms of customers, let's say that, these entrepreneurs don't have too much knowledge about marketing, but they want to do it. They want to do something for their customers. What will be the first step they should take, to start creating this plan for improved customer service?
So the first step, I just recommend to do a viability, like a study. You have to, first of all, if you're going to open like a business in specific area, you need to do like a survey. You need to ask people around the neighborhood if they're going to be, that you're planning to do this specific business. Are they willing to buy it? Are they gonna visit you? So I think it's gonna be very useful if you do that research before. Then after, as soon as you implement it, you have to talk directly to your customers. Be there. People want accessible owners. They don't want to feel the owner is in their house or in the office. No, they want you there. Go to every customer. Ask them how they feel, because that feedback is going to be helpful for you. Don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of speaking to your customers. I think that's the most easiest and most successful tool that we have when we are opening a business, or when we're offering a service. Just ask them how they feel. Ask them what things do they think we should improve. Take feedback as much as you can. I think that's going to be very very good
feedback. How we can now organize this feedback, the negative and the positive, and what to do after.
If you are like a individual business owner, you can just take all the feedback. Maybe you can look for a third party that's going to be doing the research for you. But if you don't have the budget for doing that, just do it yourself. do a survey. Maybe it's easier for you to track it. Nowadays, you can use Survey Monkey, I'm sorry. You can use forms in Google, and then you can do like some specific questions, and then take all those questions. They're gonna be, you can just take it in your computer. You can just analyze them in your Excel, and then it's like a visual representation for you to make some adjustments. So I think technology nowadays is a very useful tool for us in order to get feedback and answers from our customers.
I love it. I think at this point, the only thing I advise everybody that's watching this presentation is to view again the presentation, write it down, all the points, write down your map, and then select the best steps for your business, because everybody's business is different. You have a different model, you different customer, you different in the terms of value for your product or service. So my best recommendation is, after this, you have everything here. The only thing you need to do is to review it again, write it down, and start developing your own plan that is going to help you to improve the customer experience, to be a better connection with your customers. And it's not that difficult. The way that Professor Rodriguez explained today is not that difficult. You just need to focus, think about it, and like he said, you can do the surveys through different platforms. The Monkey survey is free, so you can actually do one for, and free. You don't need to pay for that. Or be creative in ways on how you can get the customer. But what is important is to know what they are thinking, because you don't really know. Maybe for you it's a great idea what you're doing, but not necessarily for them.
Yeah, thank you for that, Maria. I would like to give some recommendations additionally to the ones I mentioned before, to all the business owners and entrepreneurs, especially when they're doing their marketing techniques. Because sometimes they're already established, they have already like product or service, they're doing it correctly because maybe they already define their mapping, their customer journey mapping, but sometimes they're failing and when designing the marketing strategies. And the thing that I'm going to give like 5 recommendations if you allow me to do so.
Please.
First of all, when you're designing like a strategy, the one size fits all strategy is not effective. If you're gonna launch a product or something specific, just adapt it to your customer, to the country. Use the right language. If you're launching something in China, just do it something with China. Use local people from China. If you're doing it in Latin America, just use local people with from those countries. Use their language because they want to feel identified. Example is, if you're trying to get to the LGBT community, use people that represent them. Use the pronouns. Use the respect their the way they live. It is really, really important. Sometimes we need to use inclusive language, especially in different cultures, in different communities, in the LGBT community. Use inclusive language. It's called respect. Also, you should partner with professionals in the with experience in the industry. They're going to help you. They're going to give you like a view of the right things that you need to do. Maybe you have to do collaborations with different maybe influencers, maybe YouTubers, in order to get like to attract more customers, depending on the generation. It's something that you have to pay attention to, because sometimes nowadays people are very technology oriented and they like to follow different influencers or YouTubers or TikTokers. So especially the younger generation use a lot of internet and use a lot of different applications. And if you want to get to them, you have to make adjustment and do marketing campaigns in those specific platforms. And be very honest when you are designing something. Talk about the good things, but talk about maybe not the good things. Find the right way to do it. And lastly, as mentioned before, talk to your customers. Do a survey to all your customers. Go, if you are a restaurant owner, go be there. Go to every table. Ask them about the service. Ask them about the food quality. And that specific feedback is going to be helpful for you to be a successful business owner or entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rodriguez. This is definitely valuable information that everybody should be looking at, taking in consideration for their customers' experience, for the business to grow, to improve. Professor Rodriguez, where people can contact you, and perhaps you can also give us the website for Mendez University to visit more programs.
Okay, sure. You can just email me if you want. There is, I don't know if you can see the screen right now. You have my email address, which is rodriguezm14@uagm.edu. That's my email. You can contact me there. Or if you want to just use my phone number, it's 787-312-0583. You can contact me if you have any questions about the presentations or future collaborations. Feel free to do so.
Thank you so much for your time, for the knowledge that you shared today with us. And thank you so much, Ana Mendez University. As you know, Ana Mendez University is our one of our best members here at the Chamber, and we appreciate their support by presenting these valuable and educational seminars every month. I hope to see you next month with more and more that Ana Mendez has to offer for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this. Have a wonderful day and see you next time.
Bye-bye.